Right now, in the United States, about 91% of households have computers and high-speed internet access.
Mm-hmm.
But in India, that figure is, hovering around 54%,
Right.
which means just 540 out of every 1,000 people.
Yeah, it's a huge gap.
It is. Yet, despite that massive digital divide, the rapid adoption of information technology in places like India is fundamentally rewiring the global economy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's upending everything from local agriculture to international finance.
Yeah.
So how does a technology completely revolutionize the world before it even reaches half the population? Well, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to completely shatter the way you think about information technology.
It really is a complete paradigm shift, honestly.
Hmm.
Because usually when we hear the phrase IT, we just think of a support desk.
Right. The person fixing your frozen laptop.
Exactly. We picture a forgotten password or someone telling you to turn your router off and on again.
Yeah.
Feels like plumbing. You only notice it when it breaks.
Yeah, that's so true.
But when you actually look at the research and the foundational mechanics of how modern businesses operate, IT is not a support function. It is the central strategic nervous system of the organization.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because to understand how IT acts as a nervous system, we really have to understand the environment it's operating in, right?
Right.
We have officially shifted from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And that shift is entirely driven by technology.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, 100 years ago, if a local factory made shoes, you bought their shoes. They dictated the terms. Today, if you don't like a company's shoes, you can just pull out your phone and, order a custom pair from a manufacturer halfway across the world in 3 taps. The consumer holds all the cards now.
Exactly. And when a business realizes that the customer is now the absolute focal point, they have no choice but to adapt.
Yeah.
The environment is no longer stable. It is fiercely, relentlessly competitive.
Yeah.
If an organization doesn't use its information systems to anticipate market shifts and take proactive measures, they aren't just going to lose a little market share. They risk becoming a complete footnote in history.
Wow.
Yeah. You either digitize your strategy or you disappear.
A footnote in history.
Yeah.
Those are incredibly high stakes.
But before we can look at the massive corporate networks that keep these companies alive, we have to start at the foundational level.
Of course.
Because you can't build a digital empire without understanding the basic building blocks.
Right.
And in this case, that means understanding the vital difference between data and information.
Yeah, people confuse those all the time.
They use them totally interchangeably, but they are wildly different. I like to think of it this way. Data is like a pile of raw ingredients,
Okay, yeah.
Like flour, sugar, eggs, just sitting on the counter.
Right, useless on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Information is the fully baked cake. Data only becomes information when it's put into a meaningful context to trigger an action. That's a great analogy. And what's fascinating here is why this distinction matters so much for a manager.
Okay, why is that?
Well, information has to do very specific things. It must reduce uncertainty, for one.
Right.
It has to reveal alternative choices.
Yeah.
And crucially, it has to arrive within a required time frame and be completely error-free.
Because a bad variable could ruin the whole cake.
Exactly. Technology, meaning the hardware, the software, the databases, the networks, is ultimately just the delivery mechanism for this intelligence.
And getting that delivery mechanism right has been a really long, honestly fascinating journey.
Oh, totally.
When we think of computing, we automatically picture Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah, microchips and glowing screens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the history mentioned in the text traces the human desire to process data all the way back to 800 BC.
With the abacus.
Yes. Which, by the way, is still used in Chinese schools today to teach math. I just think that's wild.
It really is.
And from there, we move through mechanical gears.
Right, which had huge physical limitations.
Yeah, friction would literally tear them apart. So then we went to diode tubes, then transistors, then integrated circuits, or ICs. And eventually, post-World War II, we hit VLSI.
Very large-scale integration.
Right. So for the listener who isn't, building supercomputers in their spare time, what is VLSI doing?
It's basically the ultimate story of miniaturization. VLSI means packing millions of microscopic electronic switches onto a tiny sliver of silicon.
Millions of.
Yeah. And because the distance between those switches is now measured in nanometers, the electrons barely have to travel.
Oh, I see.
That lack of physical distance creates blistering speed. It's what allows the system to instantly bake the cake, so to speak.
Okay, so we have VLSI giving us massive processing speed. But hardware speed means absolutely nothing if the business itself is disorganized.
Oh, completely.
I mean, if a company suddenly generates millions of data points a second, how do they route that information to the right people so they don't just drown in it?
Right, you need structure.
Exactly. This requires a very specific hierarchy of systems. We need to talk about the alphabet soup of information systems.
It is an alphabet soup, but it makes a lot of sense when you break it down.
Right. So the foundation, the absolute bedrock, is the TPS transaction processing system. I think of the TPS as the cash register of the business. Its whole job is handling routine, scheduled record keeping.
Yeah, the day-to-day stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sales order entry, payroll, logging shipping records.
What?
But then we move up the ladder to the MIS, Management Information Systems, and the EIS, Executive Information Systems. And I have to push back here, or at least ask, wait, so if TPS handles the day-to-day data, aren't MIS and EIS basically doing the exact same thing, just for fancier job titles?
I get why you'd ask that, but no, not at all. They serve entirely distinct roles.
Okay, how so?
Well, MIS takes that raw TPS data and consolidates it. Its goal is to increase operational efficiency for middle management.
So it's looking for bottlenecks and stuff.
Exactly. But EIS, on the other hand, is built specifically for senior executives. It operates on a completely different design philosophy.
Like what?
It has to be incredibly easy to use without any technical assistance. Highly graphical.
Oh, okay.
And it relies heavily on what we call drill-down capabilities.
Meaning you click a broad category and it instantly unpacks the details.
Exactly. It focuses on exception reporting to spot broad trends, pulling in external data so a CEO can steer the whole ship, not just manage the factory floor.
Okay, that makes total sense. So TPS is the cash register, MIS optimizes the factory, and EIS steers the ship.
Perfectly summarized.
But viewing data on dashboards is still pretty passive, right?
Yeah, it is.
To actually survive in a competitive market, a business needs systems that don't just report on work, that actually move the work forward automatically. Here's where it gets really interesting. We start looking at workflow systems.
This is a huge leap forward for any organization.
Totally. The text uses a great specific example, a bank loan sanction process. Think about the old physical way. You fill out a massive paper form. You hand it to a teller. It sits in an inbox for days. Then someone physically walks a manila folder to the credit department. It takes forever.
So much friction.
Right. But a workflow system digitizes all of that. You fill out an electronic form on the bank's website. It goes instantly to the loan officer for interview feedback.
Yeah.
Then it automatically routes to the credit check unit and finally to a decision, all without a single piece of physical paper moving.
It's amazing. And when you take those principles and apply them to an entire multi-site global organization, you get an ERP.
Enterprise resource planning.
Exactly. An ERP integrates these vital business operations across different departments, so there are no silos. Everything communicates.
That's huge.
And it evolves even further into expert systems. These have extensive knowledge bases designed to act like a human expert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they actually make suggestions to automate processes even more.
So we've got the data flowing, systems automating the work. But historically, all this lived on a company's intranet, like inside a building.
Right.
What happens when those walls disappear entirely?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, moving from the internal intranet to the global internet fundamentally altered the traditional corporate structure.
How so?
It birthed what we call the digital firm.
The digital firm. Okay, what makes a firm digital, besides just, having Wi-Fi?
It's about how they're organized. The internet uses TCP/IP protocols, which allows universal global communication. Because of this, digital firms actually have way less hierarchy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lower-level employees suddenly have more data access, which gives them more decision-making authority.
Right. They don't need to ask permission for every little thing.
Exactly. Field workers don't even commute to an office to report their day anymore. They just transmit data via their laptops right from the field.
It totally untethers the workforce. And it also completely exploded how businesses interact with the consumer. The e-commerce ecosystem detailed in the text is just staggering.
It's massive.
We've seen physical retail entirely replaced by virtual storefronts, Amazon obviously, but also rapid delivery players like Big Basket, Swiggy, Grofers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all powered by incredibly diverse payment gateways, UPI, QR codes, Paytm, Google Pay. You literally don't even need a wallet anymore.
It's true. And that e-commerce economy maps out into a huge grid.
Right, so there's B2C, business to consumer, like buying groceries.
Right. But there's also B2B, business to business, where manufacturers bypass retailers to buy raw materials globally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and C2C, consumer to consumer, which facilitates user-to-user sales.
Like digital classifieds.
Exactly. And even GDC, government to citizens, where governments use these systems to provide services directly and efficiently.
Okay, so let's look at where we are now. We have global internet connectivity. We have digital firms, e-commerce, ERPs. The sheer volume of data is just beyond human comprehension at this point.
Oh, no human brain can process it all.
Right. So to actually navigate this, managers need the ultimate tool. This brings us to the pinnacle of our hierarchy, computer-aided decision systems, or CADS.
Also known as DSS, Decision Support Systems.
Yes, DSS. I like to think of CADS as essentially a flight simulator for business.
I love that analogy.
Because, managers have limited resources. People, money, time. They need to test what-if scenarios before risking real capital.
Exactly. You don't want to crash the real plane.
Right. So how do they build these simulators?
Oh, they build models. A model could be a physical scale model or an analog model like a blueprint. But for a DSS, we use mathematical models.
Like complex equations.
Exactly. Equations predicting a trajectory. And the manager inputs what we call decision variables.
Things they can actually control, like price or budget.
Right. And the system shows them the impact on the result variables.
Okay, so what the outcome will be.
Yes. All while mathematically accounting for uncontrollable variables like market forces or sudden supply shortages.
That is so powerful.
It is. But this raises an important question, a critical rule from the text that we have to remember. A decision support system aids in the decision-making process.
Right.
It does not make the decision for you. Human judgment must be brought together with computerized information.
Because the computer doesn't know the human nuance of the situation.
Exactly.
And building these complex mathematical simulators has to be incredibly difficult.
Oh, it requires a lot of formal documentation.
Okay.
They use an SRS, a software requirement specification.
Like a master blueprint for the software.
Right, and they use visual tools to map it all out. Data flow diagrams, flow charts, and ER diagrams, which show how different entities in the database relate to each other.
I see.
And they don't just build it all at once. They often build prototypes first for the manager to test and improve before rolling out the final system.
Wow. Okay, so taking a step back, what a journey this is.
It really is.
We went from defining raw data, structuring it through TPS and EIS, automating it via workflow and the global internet, all the way up to modeling the future with computer-aided decision systems.
It's an incredible evolution.
It truly is. But it leaves us with something pretty wild to think about. The source material predicts that expert systems, those programs that mimic human experts, will be in huge demand for automating business processes in the future.
Right.
So if we are moving toward a world where expert systems possess the knowledge base and decision support systems run the complex mathematical models and what-if scenarios, what will the day-to-day role of the human manager actually look like in the digital firm of tomorrow?
Yeah. If the systems know the answers and can run the scenarios, what is the human actually managing?
Exactly. It's something for you to mull over as you interact with the systems in your own life and work. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into information systems.
It's been great.
We hope you walk away seeing the IT world not just as a frustrating help desk, but as the invisible engine actively building the future. Until next time.